I know you're thinking, why? Why do we need to talk about microphone etiquette? Why do we need to talk about how to use a microphone? Well, it's not exactly common knowledge. Most people think you throw a microphone in front of somebody and you just talk. But if you've ever been to a public speaking event or listen to a few specific podcasts, you might know that talking into a microphone isn't necessarily an inherent trait in a lot of people. You can make really bad audio with a microphone if you're not paying attention to what you're doing. So I've got 5 steps to help you get the best possible audio out of your microphone with some very simple tips. Ready? Let's do it. This is Aiden Wolf. Now, this can all be very subjective. A lot of people like to do it their way and their way only, but there are some things to keep in mind when trying to position the mic for the best quality sound. For example, the closer you get to a mic, the fuller and rich it's going to be, and the louder it's going to be. Being closer to your mic also offers a proximity effect. And now what that does is it brings out some of the lower bassier tones in your voice. So if that's something that you think is important, get in close. It actually works quite nicely. Also, with getting in closer to the mic, you can actually speak softer and not have as much room noise caused by your voice bouncing off the walls and into the mic. This is actually really important if you don't have a perfectly treated room. Now, the usual recommendation is if you have a dynamic microphone is 2 fingers in between your mouth and the mic. And for any kind of condenser microphone, it's usually a hand span away. So if you put your hand up between your mouth and the microphone, you're going to find kind of the best area for you to be talking into that mic at a normal gain setting. But that being said, this is all kind of a personal decision based on your situation. You're probably not sitting in a professional studio, so do what you need to do with the mic and just kind of learn the best position of that mic for the audio that you're trying to get. That is, unless you're doing a movie trailer. In a world where all microphones are made the same. Maybe. Now, there is one other tip with mic positioning that might help you out, and that is the axis of the mic. And if you actually do have a problem with plosives, this might be your go-to. By placing your mic slightly off axis of your mouth, and just slightly, you really want to be careful with this one. You don't want to move it too far. You just kind of want to move it off to the side a little bit and be speaking past the mic just off to the side. That can help you avoid some of the really ugly plosives that can come through when people like talking into a microphone. By going off axis, whether it's up, which I've seen a lot of people do, or down, or just off to the side, you can actually keep a lot of the depth of your voice going into the mic without having to risk having any of those pops and plosives. And that leads me nicely into the next tip. You need to learn the polar pattern of your microphone. Now, polar patterns are the way in which your microphone is designed to pick up sound. They include cardioid, omnidirectional, subcardioid, hypercardioid, bidirectional, and probably least likely, shotgun. Out of all of these, the 2 that you're probably going to see the most are cardioid and supercardioid. What cardioid is, the pickup pattern looks like a heart. If you were to see from the back of the mic, let me bring this up. If you were to see from the back of the mic, it would come out and it would come around at a tip at the front. That means that the pickup pattern of your microphone will change as you move around the microphone, and your voice will become a little more distant as you're speaking into it, all the way down to the back. Learning the polar pattern of your microphone and actually learning how to use it as well can benefit you a lot from making all those mistakes with a microphone when you go off mic. And this happens a lot with dynamic mics that are a little less sensitive than a condenser. So if you go off mic even by a little bit, you lose so much of your voice going into that microphone, which means some microphones you have to be on top of a little more than others. This one can actually take a little bit of time to learn. What mic dynamics are is trying to control the volume of your voice going into a microphone. And while that can include whispering at times or bringing the volume of your voice down to suit the environment, it can also mean the space between yourself and your mic. One of the best examples of trying to learn your mic dynamics is when somebody laughs during an interview or a podcast. And what'll happen is if they stay directly on mic and they start to laugh, they're going to just blow out the audio and you won't be able to hear anything else other than distortion. So Learning mic dynamics is leaning away from your mic when you go to laugh. You see, laughing is a lot louder than your normal speaking voice. So if you're going to laugh, the best practice in mic dynamics is to move away from your microphone while you're doing it. That will lessen the amount of sound going into the mic. Also, if you wanted to whisper, you'd lean in a little closer. The reason mic dynamics are so important is when you get into post-processing, the amount of work you're going to have to put into bringing up the audio levels on one person, bringing them down on somebody's laugh, and somebody started whispering at this point, so you got to jack that way up. And what that can cause is, well, a whole lot of heartache while you're actually trying to edit the podcast episode. But if you have to gain something up or down super low or super high, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be causing an audio effect where it kind of puts off the listener because all of a sudden the room tone drops out, or all of a sudden the room tone is super loud. It's just jarring to listen to, and it's kind of a cheap way to do things. By learning that mic dynamic of moving forward and away from your mic, you're going to actually create better audio going in that you have to do less to in the end. Now, this one should be self-explanatory for most people out there. It's handling the mic. I see a lot of YouTube videos where people like to grab the mic and they like to pull it into themselves while they're talking. They'll handle the mic. They might feel like they want to have their hand on the mic. As soon as you start moving your microphone while you're talking, you're introducing sound into a recording that you might not necessarily be able to get rid of. Now, if you're one of those jockeys that just needs to handle his mic while he's talking, you can do a couple things to actually limit this. The first one is a shock mount. Now, a shock mount's not going to be a perfect solve for every situation. It does still let some of the noise get through, but it does get rid of a lot of the rumbling when the hand is on the mic. One of the other ways you can combat this is with a microphone that actually has an internal shock absorber, and great example is the Shure SM58. One of the reasons is because despite all the hand movement on this thing, none of that sound will actually get into the capsule due to it being on a bit of a bubble. It's kind of hard to explain, but these things are brilliant. If you're one of those people that just needs to handle a microphone, you can hold it, you can do anything with it. And it's also why it's great for stage work. Now, the last tip is pretty obvious, but it's not exactly microphone related. But it's something you need to be doing every time you're on mic. And that's monitoring. The old adage is if you want to work with great audio, you need to make sure what's going in the mic is great audio. Okay? And the best way to do that is to monitor yourself while you're talking. Post-production is amazing. You can do a lot of great things with it, but sometimes it's just so far gone because nobody was monitoring it. Now, there are some great programs out there for fixing audio. But you know what? They can't work miracles all the time. Sometimes the audio is just too far gone. And you can actually fix this problem before it starts by listening on a pair of headphones. These are Shure SRH 440s, and they look really big and bulky on your head, especially when yours is as big as mine is. But you know what? They're great for making sure that the audio that's going into your mic and coming out the other end is the audio you want for your show. It helps if somebody's continually going off mic throughout the show. You can actually get them, make sure that mic's in front of their mouth while they're talking. But it also can help if you're having some line issues. And it can happen sometimes where halfway through an interview, you start getting static on a line or static off a microphone. You can hear those real time and fix them before they become a major problem for the rest of your show. Now, that's a pretty simple problem to fix in post-production, but it's still a problem you have to fix after the fact, and I guarantee you the amount of time you're going to spend fixing it will be tenfold from the amount of time it'll take to just fix it halfway through your podcast. Just had to take those ugly things off. Now, in case you need, you can also use earbuds. They're not quite as effective and aren't going to pick up the full range of sound that you want them to. But if you're in a pinch or you just don't want those big gaudy things hanging off your ears, they're always a great go-to and well worth it to at least have one person while you're recording be monitoring the audio. That's my 5 tips on how to get great audio with a little bit of microphone etiquette. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please hit subscribe, hit the like button, whatever you got to do. Follow along. There's going to be more videos like this coming out weekly to start now, and hopefully we can ramp that up in the future. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Wonder if I should do this without the windscreen. Let's see 1 second. I've never actually taken this thing apart before. What do you think? Better? Or windscreen? No. Hmm. I like the winds. Yeah. All right. You know what? Just keep the windscreen on. Sorry. Hello. Peter Piper picked a pack of pimple. I can't do that. Peter Piper picked a pack of big. Peter Piper. Oh, you know what? Now, what mic dynamics are is trying to. I, I can't talk. Brr. We're good. Now, laughing is generally a lot louder than your normal.
Starting with one from Reddit.
That was weird. That was really weird. Okay, where was I? That's right. See, laughing. What was that?